Welcome back. You're listening to Home Wizards. I'm Cindy Dole.
And I'm Eric Stromer. I wanted to really kind of go off on that one. That was risky.
Can I do that? Can you do that?
I'm Eric Stromer.
Oh, that was musical. That was good.
Yeah.
Well, you are musical too.
That's true.
So that's true. So we love to help you find new ways to just love where you live. And if you've been out, and as we're kind of inching into fall, even though it's still hot in some parts of the country and getting colder in others, but it's officially starting to be fall as we're in October, for goodness sakes. This is the time of year where you are seeing bulbs in the garden centers, in the hardware stores, in the big box stores, and you see these bins, and there's a bunch of bulbs just sitting there.
Looks like onions in the grocery store.
And you're going, what the heck are those?
Yep.
And you probably have walked by them year after year.
You might even ignore them, thinking they're, somebody's garbage or something.
Well, and you're probably thinking, that's for that real fancy gardener. Yeah. That's not me.
That's inaccessible.
That's something that my grandmother did, my mom and dad.
I couldn't do that in a million years.
You know what I'm saying? I know that you have not done bulbs, have you?
Listen to this.
Did you do bulbs?
I did not do bulbs, but I have bulbs on the property, and they keep showing up in the spring. Every time I come out in the, around April, what's there? Tulips.
So they were planted by your predecessor.
That's right.
So here's the deal.
Her.
We want you to become a bulb guy and a bulb girl, because you are going to be so rewarded in spring. In fact, right now, if you stock up, and we're going to tell you the ones to think about from tulips on out.
I like the crocus.
Oh my gosh, the Dutch iris. You get these, and they're going to reward you in the spring. So you're going to do this now, and you're going to forget about it, and then out of the blue, it's going to become March or April, and you're going to look outside. You're going to look in the ground. Let's say you live in an apartment and you have a balcony, you have a couple containers. All of a sudden, you're going to be like going, oh my gosh, OMG.
Yeah, and guess what? You can even send away for these things online. They send them from like exotic, beautiful flowers you could never get in a million years.
So here, let's walk you through some of the different bulbs to be thinking about, and then some tips to make sure you do it right, because you want to do it in the fall, because the idea is, it's nearly foolproof. The idea is that you want to make sure, whether you are a beginner or even a master gardener, that when the bulbs do arrive, if you do order them online or you buy them in the store, that the ground has to be cool. So if right now where you live, it's still feeling like it's a last-minute heat wave, because some folks still have that last burst. I remember going back to school. Remember when, growing up, and it's like, at least in Los Angeles, you'd go to school, and you're wearing all the fall fashion. You're all excited about wearing it.
And it's 100 degrees.
And you're like, what the heck is that?
I'm wearing a poncho, and it's 100.
But boy, I look fashionable.
I sure do.
How did you know? I had a poncho.
And gauchos, I would imagine.
And boots.
And clogs.
Oh, my gosh. Well, anyway, so I know, it takes you back.
Yeah.
So here are some of the bulbs to think about. Dutch iris. Who doesn't love that just neon cobalt blue with that little speckle of yellow, right?
That's something.
And it grows about 2 feet tall. The Dutch irises they have these intense colors from purple to orange to blue, sometimes even the yellows, and even magentas. You can try all these, but that's a really good one to look for. And when you
now I have a question for you.
What?
So when you have say I plant some bulbs today in a big old pot. Do I water it frequently or just let it sit there in the dry earth?
Well, you're getting a little ahead, and I'm going to tell you.
All right.
The idea is you're going to put the bulbs. All right, so let's talk about how you plant them then.
All right.
Once you figure out your bulbs, and we'll go through more good ones to select, but you can plant them in a container.
Yeah.
You can plant them in a garden, just as long as the soil drains well. Bulbs don't like wet feet.
Because they'll rot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So anywhere where the water collects, like the bottom of a hill, bulbs like some sun. So, if you have like a little patio area and it's in the container, you'd want to have them in the sun. You want to dig the soil so it's loose and workable, If it's not an established garden bed, chances are the soil could use maybe some additional organic matter, compost.
Yeah, because if it's too clay-based, it's going to be tough for that little bulb to get up on the surface.
You're going to plant the bulb with the pointy end up.
Okay.
It almost looks like it, like that onion or that it's pointing up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's easy to spot the pointy end of a tulip. It's a little tougher with the crocus, but in most cases, even if you don't get it right, guess what? These guys are smarter than we are.
Yeah.
The flower bulb will find its way to get up. They'll say, darn you, Eric. You thought
planned me wrong.
But I'm going to come up, darn it. I'm going to find that sun.
Yep.
No fertilizer is necessary in the first year's bloom.
Okay.
The bulbs are natural storehouses of food. They don't need anything to flower the first year. But for the bulbs that are intended to naturally, do the stuff and return, you want to spread some organic fertilizer. Never mix the fertilizer, in the planting hole. Can burn the roots. And then, what I would do is I would water them for the initial time and then just let them sit.
Now, here's what's interesting, because, I live basically on Mars.
You do,
it's so hot
and there's no water.
There's no water. It's terrible. And yet tulips, which aren't supposed to do any business at all in my neighborhood, somehow every spring do come up.
Yeah.
But then I think they probably burn out pretty quickly. But having said that, they work pretty much anywhere.
Yeah, well, the idea is right after you would plant them, okay, whether they're in the soil or whether it's in a container, you would, right after planting, give the bulbs some water. It's going to just kind of get them into the process of growing. Okay. Not a soaking, because the bulbs will decay and die if they get too wet.
Okay.
And don't water the bulbs again unless it's extremely dry outside.
Okay.
Okay. Unless the ground is really dry, there's no need to water the bulbs again.
That's it?
That's the magic.
That's how easy it is?
The newly planted bulbs would rot if the soil gets waterlogged. Jeez. So really, there should be, hopefully, a little bit of rain.
So these are a great container things.
Because nature does its thing. So then I think as the months get colder, you might have a little bit of rain and you might have a little bit of snow. And so nature is going to naturally moisturize the bulbs. So all you need to do is get them in the ground and have them with the pointy thing up, and just an initial watering.
Do you need to space them a bit, or what's that recommendation?
So here's the deal with that. So like I love to have them really tight against each other, like in a container. You can have them like side by side, and they're not going to be fighting each other. It's going to be okay. And then just imagine having a huge container of like all white tulips.
Beautiful.
Or all whatever. If you're doing it in the ground itself, in the soil itself, the idea is you might want to space the holes like 4 to 6 inches apart, and then dig about 8 inches from the base of the bulb. So you have about a 1-inch bulb. You want like a 9-inch hole.
I gotcha.
Okay? Yeah. And then just keep clear of rocks and roots and other debris, and maybe even sprinkle some kitty litter or gravel or some other kinds of things to deter mice and other rodents from trying to get in. And wouldn't that make you mad? That they came in and snuck in the middle of the night and took your bulb.
Wouldn't that be terrible?
Because, they're great snacks. Now,
look, listen, I'm on Amazon right now. Crocus bulbs. You get for $11.99, 8 to 9 bulbs.
Okay, that's a good value.
It's amazing.
That's
they just send them to you from Amazon.
Yeah.
They got a botanical mix, 20 different flowers. Holy $5.
See? So let me tell you.
I'm getting them right now.
You want to get some tulips. So tulips to consider, they have some yellow tulips and orange tulips, and they have something called slender lady or candy tulips, and they're pale yellow and white inside, or red to magenta, and they grow up to 9 inches tall. And again, I love the idea. You water them now once, and then just let nature take care of the rest. You know what I mean? It's easy. It's like you don't have to be a professional gardener. You're going to succeed, and you're going to have flowers in the spring.
That's what's so great about them. You forget about it, and then all of a sudden you see this stuff show up. It's like, wow, that's so great.
But the key is not to forget to buy them now, because as you're getting ready for all the other fall and the holidays to come, you're going to regret it if you don't get the tulips now or the other bulbs. Like, for instance, you want to get the iris, you want to get the crocus. How about the parrot tulip? These they're kind of like parrots because the tulips come in bright, vibrant, almost neon colors like magenta and purple or bright, kind of an orangish yellow, really amazing color. So have you ever seen a black tulip? They have black
those
tulips.
Are beautiful.
I know, kind of different. But so make sure you get some of and also daffodils. Daffodils are another really great bulb to get right now, and hyacinth because they're so fragrant. So load up on the bulbs, do this weekend, and you will be so happy in the spring, I promise. Eric Stromer, Cindy Dole, check us out at yourhomewizards.com and Facebook and Twitter. And remember this, the key is under the mat.
Only for you.